In today's video, I'm talking about 3 things millionaires have in their budgets. I have these 3 things in my own budget and they helped me to become a millionaire. So make sure and stick around until the very end of the video because number 3 is the most important. I am Tiffany Thomas, your wealth mentor. I achieved financial freedom in my 30s and did become a millionaire at 40. I'm here to help you do that even earlier and easier and without bias since I do not work for any third parties. And if you are interested in working with me, I do have a coaching program. I will leave a link below in the description. You can click on that link and check out how you can work with me so that you can become better with your money and become financially free. All right, let's dive into these 3 different items that millionaires have in their budgets. The first one that I want to talk about is having a line item to build up your emergency fund. I definitely did this over the years. I had a line item and I would contribute a certain amount to my emergency fund. I set a specific amount that I wanted to have in my emergency fund so that in case an emergency did come up, I was able to pay for that emergency and not put it on a credit card and start paying credit card interest. I wanted to make sure that I had enough in my emergency fund to cover whatever emergency came up. And as I have built my wealth over time and have multiple properties now, I do have a little bit higher emergency fund than I did when I was in my 20s and just had a lot lower expenses. So determine how much you want to have in your emergency fund. Usually people recommend having 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses in your emergency fund. I personally like to keep as little as possible in my emergency fund because I want the majority of my money working for me. And if it is sitting in savings, it's not working for me. Yes, there are some really good interest rates on some high yield savings accounts right now, but honestly, they might be around 5%. And if you are able to invest in the stock market, for example, that returns an average of 10% every single year on average over time. Not that it's going to do that every single year, but over time it will be about 10%. So we really want to be smart with our money and have an emergency fund, whatever we are going to feel comfortable with and be able to sleep at night. But we don't want to have too much money in our emergency fund because we could be investing that money and making it grow even faster. And going along with this, when we have that emergency fund, we want to make sure that once we hit our target number, whatever amount we have set for ourselves, then after we've hit that amount, we want to start investing our money. Unless you have high interest debt, then you can definitely focus on paying off your high interest debt. And I would say that would be anywhere from about 8% or above would be high interest debt. So you can definitely make a plan and start paying off that debt once your emergency fund is set up. I think it's really key to have that emergency fund set up first, because if we already have credit card debt and then an emergency happens and we don't have an emergency fund, then most likely we're going to swipe that credit card, pay for the emergency with that credit card, and just start accruing more credit card interest, which is going to just snowball and continue to have that interest go up and up over time instead of us really focusing on getting that paid off and making sure that we have an emergency fund set up so that we have some sort of buffer to pay for those emergencies. And I actually break this down in another video, how to determine exactly how much to have in your emergency fund. I will leave a link above and you can check that video out later on. All right, let's move to the next point. This one is the second item that millionaires have in their budget, and this is a line item for investing. This one is super important if we want to become a millionaire or just become financially free or even build our wealth as quickly as possible. Like I said before, if we are leaving our money just sitting in a savings account, we are leaving dollars on the table because we can definitely make more money by investing our money. I have seen this in my own life for sure. I was really good at saving my money. I had a significant amount. At one point I had over $54,000 sitting in my savings account, and this was not earning the high interest rates that we are earning today. This was a very low interest rate, and I did not need that much sitting in there because at the time I only had one property and I didn't have a lot of expenses. So I had this money sitting in there and I knew that I needed to invest it, but I was scared, I was nervous, and I wasn't sure how. But once I started to learn how to invest my money, I learned about the stock market, I learned about real estate, and I started investing my money, making it work for me. I saw my wealth grow exponentially. And this grew pretty quickly because of investing. We're able to take advantage of compound interest instead of paying that compound interest. But we need to make sure that that is definitely a priority. So we can add a line item in our budget for investing. And I still do this, even though I've become financially free and become a millionaire. I still transfer a certain amount every single month to my investment account. And this is actually automated, so I don't even have to think about this. I just have an automatic transfer from my savings to my investment account, and it automatically purchases the investment that I want to be purchasing. So it makes it very simple to invest my money. And we really want to have a focus on investing our money. Once our high interest debt is paid off and once we have that emergency fund set up, we can definitely start investing. And we don't have to start with a large amount of money. We can start with a very small amount, especially if we are investing in the stock market. We can do what's called fractional share investing. So we don't even have to have the full amount of one share of whatever it is that we want to buy. If it's a certain company like Amazon or Google or Tesla, or if it is an index fund, which has a whole bunch of investments or companies inside of just one single fund. Sometimes those investments, those shares that we are purchasing, they can run anywhere from, maybe $100 to $1,000. But if we just want to start with $50, we can do what's called a fractional share. And I'm not going to break this down in this video, but I do have another video about fractional share investing, so I'll leave a link above. You can check that one out later on. But we can really start with a really small amount and start getting our money invested so that it can start working with us. We don't have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to get started investing. So making this a priority actually helped me become a millionaire at age 40 and become financially free. The way we become financially free is by creating passive income, by investing our money so that we don't have to work for the money anymore. But if we aren't investing our money, then there's no way we're going to be able to become financially free. Okay, let's move to the third item that millionaires have in their budget. And this is a line item for something that is fun, that's still a priority, but something that is going to bring joy into their lives. And I have done this for myself. I really enjoy traveling. So I've been able to save up for a trip that I wanted to take. But it doesn't have to be traveling if that's not your thing. But if we can really focus on what our priorities are and start saving up for, maybe you want to do a spa day somewhere or something like that, then you can make that a priority and put that in your budget. We don't have to just have our boring expenses listed in our budget. We can definitely have a line item that is for something fun, something that we're looking forward to, that gets us excited to save our money. And we know that when we spend our money on that particular item, that it is going to bring us joy, that it's going to be worth whatever that expense is. And I really find that experiences are bringing the most joy to my life instead of just buying a physical thing. My camera that I bought, for example, to record these videos is great and I love having it, but taking that trip to Israel is something I will never forget and I will never regret spending my money on that vacation. So think about what it is that is a priority for you. And once we do that, once we have that item in our budget, we are going to start saving for that, which means we are going to spend less money on things that aren't important to us and that we just will regret spending money on later. We can really focus and say, oh, you know what? I don't want to buy these other items because I have this item, this vacation that I'm saving up for, and that's what I want to be spending my money on. So that's going to reduce the regret that we have around purchases that we make with our money. And it's going to increase our happiness because we are actually spending our money on something that is bringing us joy. And when we are doing that, when we are creating that more happiness in our lives, then we actually take better care of our finances and the things that we already have because we feel good about our lives, the way we are living our lives, and what we're spending our time and our money on. So that just leads to more and more good decisions. So those are the 3 items that millionaires have in their budgets. So comment below and tell me what you are going to add to your budget. I am curious to know. And if you do want to work with me and get better at managing your money, and spending on your priorities and investing your money, then I'm going to leave a link below in the description on how you can work with me. So click on that link and check out the details. And make sure and hit the like button and the subscribe button and share this video with someone who would like to hear it. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.